Hi, I'm Esther Rockett, and this is my memoir, Universal Predator, a lone woman's fight to expose Serge Benhayon and his universal medicine cult, the inside story. It's the story of the defamation trial of Serge Benhayon versus Esther Rockett, and that was held at the Supreme Court of New South Wales in Sydney, and it ran for 5 weeks. And it's the story of the trial, but it's also the events that led up to it. Now, the paperback is available worldwide at Amazon. You can also ask for it at your local bookshop. And the ebook is available worldwide as well. You can get that at Amazon, Apple Books, Kobo, or just visit this link. It's books2read.com/universal-predator. Chapter 1. Squall. My new umbrella had a snakeskin print, a choice Serge would have disapproved of. The self-anointed emissary from the 6th dimension, the luminous embodiment of transcendental purity, rails against our animal tendencies. But a snake's belly cannot get closer to the earth, and I like to remind him that we all have a touch of reptile in us. We're all slithering through the dirt. Provoke any of us enough, and we'll bite. It was a short walk from Chambers to the Law Courts building at Queen's Square. On the 5th of October 2018, 22nd day of the defamation trial of Serge Isaac Benhayon versus Esther Mary Rockett at the Supreme Court of New South Wales, the stirring sky was mottled grey. All the evidence had been heard. Counsel had closed their arguments, and Her Honour was to commence her summing up. A sprinkle of rain and a fitful breeze greeted us at the corner of Martin Place. Mr. Tom Malomby, SC, had manila folders and notebooks tucked under one arm and carried a sleek, dark umbrella with an oak handle and tip. Junior counsel, Ms. Louise Goodchild, strode 2 steps ahead, the luxurious pleats of her black robe swaying, the curled tails of her wig bouncing, and even Tom, a good head taller, had to liven his step to match her pace. She had her smartphone, her pencil case, and her favourite parasol with the musical motif, merry bars of black crotchets and quavers dancing across white sateen. Louise and I raised our umbrellas as cold raindrops spattered our faces near Queen Square, where a press photographer trained his lens on us from the courthouse steps. The traffic broke. We started across the street, and the breeze quickened, as it often did near the entry. A wind that might rate as slightly spirited in any other part of Sydney could build there into a howling southerly that would swirl from Hyde Park through the Sandstone Plaza, recoil at the steeple of St. James Church, and swoop down Phillip Street, knotting and whirling into a mini tornado. Suddenly a fierce blast had me using both hands to push my umbrella into its face as it whipped Louise's wildly about before ripping whole bars of crotchets from its frame. I was thumbing for my collapse clip when my canopy flung upward and yanked backward, turning my snakeskin inside out. Yet Tom's umbrella was still folded, and he advanced across wind, squinting into the squall. Skipping in his wake, I thrust mine against the gale to turn it back on itself. "I think it's bloody broken," I muttered, clumsily pulling it down. Moments later, the photographer snapped me with damp hair flying skyward. Medusa in the CBD. Malomby forded Phillip Street like a battleship, judicious nose in line with his umbrella tip, compass needle steady, chest out, robes flapping, horsehair wig bristled but undisturbed. His voice trailed back as if from far away. "Don't give up," he said. Chapter 2. Extraordinary, Ordinary. What you need to believe in is what you can see. If you see me as your friend, I'll be your friend. As you see me as your father, I'll be your father. If you see me as your savior, I'll be your savior. If you see me as your God, I'll be your God. Jim Jones. The SergeBenhayon.com website was packed with glowing testimonials authored by nearly 50 of Benhayon's devoted students. Its tabbed pages were arranged by theme. Serge Benhayon, the author; Serge Benhayon, the philosopher; Serge Benhayon, the practitioner, the teacher, the family man, the friend. Some acolytes were so effusive in their admiration of the man and his multi-million-dollar enterprise, universal medicine, and so incensed by his treatment by the media, that they'd contributed 2 testimonials. Beneath each article was an invitation to leave a reply, followed by hundreds of unanimous responses, admirers often leaving numerous comments. Beautifully said, Michelle, and it's an absolute yes from me as to the amazingness of Serge Benhayon and universal medicine. So in the face of the lies that are being told about them, let's not hold back how we feel, as everyone else in the world deserves to hear the truth and to have the choice to experience the healing that is possible. Each carried its author's full name and a beaming photo avatar, and each was immaculately spelled. I agree, Ingrid. Well said. Everyone deserves to hear the truth and to experience deep healing. I too, as have many, many others, have had huge transformation in my health and life from the inspiration, deep love, and truth lived and presented by Serge Benhayon. That a businessman based in suburban Gunnellabar on the outskirts of Lismore, New South Wales, could inspire a whole website with so many positive raves is remarkable. But between 2012 and 2018, the Universal Medicine Corporation and its associated spiritual community launched over 50 websites lauding its proprietor. 10 were blog sites, each featuring hundreds of devotional articles and tens of thousands of assenting comments from the student body. The sites had titles like The Truth About Serge Benhayon, Words on Serge Benhayon, and Medicine at Serge Benhayon. And with so much repetition, students had to strain to find new superlatives. I feel so blessed to know Serge. As mentioned before, he really is an extraordinary, ordinary man. Not a word of criticism was found on those thousands of web pages. Serge Benhayon was flawless. The plaintiff's evidence in chief, where he entered the witness box and was questioned by his own lawyer, was his chance to portray himself as the innocent victim of defamation and to persuade the court that his reputation and feelings had been so grievously harmed by my publications that I should pay him hundreds of thousands of dollars in damages. Benhayon claimed 62 defamatory imputations were conveyed by a blog article I'd authored and a series of tweets, and his lawyer, Kieran Smark, SC, read out some excerpts, beginning with the opening paragraph of my blog post, Universal Medicine's Sexual Abuse Apologism Hits a Crescendo. Complementary health conglomerate and religion Universal Medicine has launched what could be its greatest fiasco, with an hysteria-ridden public promotion of the molestation they call healing. UM's esoteric hysterics mob, led by propaganda drill sergeant Alison Gregg, label our concerns about the organisation's predatory behaviours and our questions about the welfare of the most vulnerable members as sexualising and dangerous to children. The Facts Battalion then justifies inappropriate touching with anatomical confusion, New Age quackery, and testimonials from Serge Benhayon's young female house guests. It's a perfect demonstration of the mix of dishonesty, delusion, stupidity, abuse apologism, bullying, and exploitation that screams cult. Smark, well known in the defamation circuit, was a slightly built chap around 50 with a slack face that was too doleful for someone so well paid. It can fairly be said that presently Ms. Rockett is not a fan of Mr. Benhayon, the barrister observed. Before the judge, Serge looked more like an accountant than a cult leader. In grey tweed trousers, a blue business shirt, and a navy sweater, he was short in stature and slim, and his wiry, grey-flecked hair was combed neatly. His posture, however, was the only straight thing about him. He recounted how he migrated from Uruguay in 1970 at age 6, his family settling in Maroubra, a beachside suburb of Sydney. He'd been devoutly religious from an early age, he said, and if his statements were true, his religious upbringing was as eclectic as his latter-day New Age bent. Circumcised by a Jewish mohel, he was baptised Catholic, worshipped at the Church of England, became a student of Messianic Judaism in his late teens, and learned about the Quran from his father. "I've never not believed in God," he said. He added that his first 9 years were deeply joyful and insightful, and that it was a very beautiful experience to be in one's body. But his bliss was disrupted by the schoolyard attacks that plague migrant children. At the age of 9, I made a decision to depart from that state of being. The pressures were basically to survive bullying and to survive being called a wog. Born with the name Sergio, perhaps the taunts led him to change it to Serge. And he said the hardships pushed him to excel at sport, which led to his career coaching tennis. About 50 observers filled the court's public gallery, the majority stalwart students, rugged up in heavy coats and scarves despite the mild September weather. Seated behind his legal team, his wife and adult children wore wool mittens. Smark needed testimony about hurt to his client's feelings and asked of his first exposure to my crescendo post. "How did you feel when you read it?" Moist-eyed Benhayon replied through trembling lips, "The raping of my integrity, the raping of the attempt to demolish my reputation, and the intrusion into my marital status." The barrister interrupted. "But I'm asking how you felt about it. How did you feel about it?" "Well, you feel raped." Well, I'll leave it to you to read the rest. Remember, the paperback version is available at Amazon. You can ask at your local bookstore for it as well. And also the ebook is available worldwide too. So you can go to the website books2read.com/universal-predator. And remember to leave a rating and a review wherever you bought it. So thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoy it.